Welcome to my channel Remember Me. Firstly, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and to remember this case. I believe that if people remember and talk about cases, then there will be more of a chance that new information will surface and that this information could help solve a case. And just a warning, some viewers may find the content distressing. Little Lord Fauntleroy is the nickname for an unidentified American boy found murdered in Waukesha, Wisconsin in 1921. This case is one of the first cases I ever read and is part of the reason why I formed such a love for spreading awareness for unsolved crime. Even though this case has been unsolved for almost 100 years, the likelihood of Little Lord Fauntleroy being formally identified is unfortunately unlikely. I think it's very important to remember what happened to this poor little boy. Discovery. On the morning of March 8, 1921, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, John Brulich, an employee of the O'Loughlin Stone Company, was strolling near the quarry pond when he made a ghastly discovery. He saw a small body floating in the pond and rushed back to the office of the stone company to contact Waukesha County Sheriff Clarence Keebler. Keebler contacted County Coroner L.F. Lee, and the two officials drove to the quarry pond. Appearance. County officers collaborated with the Milwaukee Police Department to conduct a wide search for the identity of the dead child. The police made a note of his physical features in their files. The boy was likely between 5 and 7 years old. He was quite short, less than 4 feet tall. He had blonde hair and brown eyes. He did not appear malnourished and bore no physical marks of abuse on his body. But what most captured the police's attention, and consequently the nation's attention, was his strange attire. The small boy had been dressed in a blouse or button-up shirt, a grey sweater from the expensive Bradley Knightley Company underwear, black stockings, and patterned leather shoes. His clothes were of highest quality. Newspaper reporters read the police file and dubbed the mysterious boy Little Lord Fauntleroy for a lavish character featured in a highly popular piece of sentimental fiction in the early 20th century, a child's book by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This children's book was later adapted into a dozen films and plays, but little more would be written about the strange dead boy in Waukesha. Investigation. Investigators could only guess at how long the child had been in the pond, and they estimated anywhere between less than a week and to 6 months. Besides the boy's clothing, which suggested he came from money, police were at loss of his identity. In an attempt to gather information, the police put Little Lord Fauntleroy on display at the local funeral home and invited the public. While groups came to view the child, no one could offer any information until a quarry worker named Mike Cooper. He would be among the first to give the police a lead on the murder of their little boy Fauntleroy. Cooper informed them that he had witnessed a young woman in a red sweater wandering around the pond 5 weeks before the corpse was found. Cooper added that when he questioned her about what she was doing, she seems anxiously inquired about whether he had seen a little boy in the neighborhood. Cooper added that the woman in red then joined a male companion and drove away in a car. The couple were never located by police, but the authorities did receive a tip that the woman had died by suicide in the very same pond that the unknown boy had been found. The police proceeded to set off dynamite in the water in the hopes that the explosion would bring the corpse to the surface. Despite their best efforts, the police never found an additional corpse. Another possibility is that he had been kidnapped from a wealthy family who lived elsewhere and killed after a failed attempt at extortion. Additionally, the owner of a local department store claimed that the boy's clothing had been purchased at his store a few months prior, although there were no way to determine who had purchased them. And later, a man in Chicago claimed that the boy was his nephew who had been kidnapped by his sister's ex-husband. This seemed a promising lead, but when the police investigated Belson's claim, they verified that the child was alive and well, thus their little boy Fauntleroy could not be counted as Belson's nephew. There was a reward of firstly $250, then $1,000, which was about $13,500 in today's currency, but this never led to any useful information. Detectives first theorized that the boy had tragically fallen into the pond and drowned. However, the coroner's examination revealed that the body had a deep cut on the head, which indicated that he had been hit on the head with a blunt object. The examination also revealed that he had very little water in his lungs, which meant that the child was likely dead before he wound up in the pond. In 1949, a medical examiner from Milwaukee, E.L. Thuringa, hypothesized that the unknown boy could actually have been a child named Homer Lemay, who had disappeared around the time that little Lord Fauntleroy was found in the quarry pond. According to Edmund Lemay, Homer's father, Homer's mother had died of tuberculosis in 1919, after which the boy had been left with a couple called the Nortons. Lemay said that the Nortons had taken Homer on a trip to South America where he died in a car crash, something which Lemay said he only found out via a newspaper article. However, no record of the death was ever uncovered. What's more, police investigators never turned up any evidence that the Nortons existed in the first place. Further suspicions would surround Edmund Lemay in 1948 when his third wife mysteriously disappeared. In fact, he faced criminal charges following her disappearance for forging her signature on some payroll checks. However, no definite evidence has ever been found to connect Homer Lemay to the Little Lord Fauntleroy case. On May 16, 1949, Dr. Thuringa held a press conference and strongly encouraged the exhumation of the unknown boy. However, he looked to Sheriff Leslie P. Roccatella and Coroner Alan H. Johnson to make the final decision, and they ultimately decided to let the Little Lord Fauntleroy rest in peace. According to those who lived near the cemetery at the time, a heavily veiled woman in red would sometimes be seen laying a bouquet of flowers on the little grave. Suspicions arose that she must know Little Lord Fauntleroy's true identity, but no one ever discovered her identity. If this woman truly existed, she has taken her secret to the grave. Little Lord Fauntleroy's remains were buried in Prairie Home Cemetery to the present day under a simple tombstone that belies so little about the great mystery that surrounds him. His tombstone reads, "Unknown boy found in O'Loughlin Quarry, Waukesha, Wis, March 8, 1921. The whereabouts of Homer Lemay and the true identity of Little Lord Fauntleroy unfortunately remain unsolved." I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video and for taking the time to remember this case. It would really mean a lot if you could share this video to spread these people's stories in the hope that new information will resurface. To recommend a case, please contact me on Instagram or send me an email. Thank you!